For centuries, many civilizations have risen and fallen, but two famous empires stand out above the rest, remaining timeless throughout history, despite numerous attempts by their enemies to erase the legacy of these powerful forces. Their navies especially were famous for drawing the astonishment of the rest of the exceptionally vigilant world. Sadly, or perhaps fortunately, these navies never faced off against each other in battle directly. One reason being that these civilizations lived in slightly different time periods. Despite this, their navies are probably considered by many to be similar in strength. The big question we ask today is, what would have happened if they ever had the misfortune to face off on the open seas in actual battle? In our hypothetical scenario, a Greek trireme roams the open seas of the Mediterranean. A potential challenger slowly comes into view, ascending dramatically above the sea's horizon. The date is somewhere between March 1st of the year 500 BC and March 31st of the year 2020. The Greek trireme will soon face off against the U.S. aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan for the first time in history, as far as we know. The question on everyone's mind: who will be victorious? If you've watched any one of our 1.5 million videos, you'd know that the US military has an enormous budget. In fact, its budget is even larger than that of the ancient Greeks. The US Navy spends more money on ships and weapon technology than anything else, including sunscreen and tanning lotion. But money isn't the only thing the US Navy has lots of. It also has lots of sailors. Today, sailors are people who sail on ships that lack sails. But you know what does have sails? The trireme has the advantage of being an old and proven technology. It boasts an impressive armament of bowmen with arrow projectiles that have the ability to rain down arrows upon the enemy craft. It can also be loaded with an impressive amount of swordsmen, ready at all times to board and capture any enemy vessel unlucky enough to drift within about an arm's length. On the other hand, the American aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan is bigger, faster, and contains airplanes which have the ability to launch explosives like missiles, bombs, and torpedoes towards enemy vessels much farther away than the trireme's arrows can usually reach. The aircraft carrier itself is also loaded with cannons, machine guns, and missiles, all of which can wreak havoc upon an enemy vessel with as little armor as the average Greek trireme. However, it lacks a trained boarding party, well versed in the art of taking over an enemy vessel in hand-to-hand combat. So who would really win? Before the battle even truly begins, the US carrier detects the trireme miles away by radar, because that's another thing it can do. It has the trireme in its sight, even though it's actually out of eyesight. Without missing a beat, the US carrier launches a missile to make quick work of the tiny trireme. But it turns out the trireme is just too tiny and nimble, thanks to its combination of rowers and sails. Because of this maneuverability, the missile is unable to hit its intended target. By now, the trireme is closing in on the USS Ronald Reagan, having followed the massive smoke trail the missile left behind. Quickly seizing the moment, the trireme unleashes its first attack, a volley of arrows. But the steel shell of the aircraft carrier is no match for the iron arrowheads. The Greeks realize their only hope now is to ram and board the vessel, capturing the ship and its crew at sword point. As they speed towards their enemy in a cloud of dust, the carrier realizes that it must think fast, or risk a deadly showdown between the crews of each vessel. The captain of the USS Ronald Reagan consults his fellow sailors while they hatch a cunning plan. They decide to use the most powerful anti-ship weapon in their arsenal. You guessed it, aircraft. The captain orders their bombers to shoot down the enemy ship. Direct hit. The crew of the trireme scrambles to put out the Greek fire. But it looks like the 2,000-pound laser-guided bombs are no match for the ancient wooden vessel. What do you think of our predictions? Would the carrier have won? Or would a shadowy, deep-seated conspiracy allow the trireme to cheat its way to victory? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out our other videos, You versus House Cat, and Could a beetle survive a Greek invasion? Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.